Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. So it's finally time. Extra deck Monarchs, but full power post Justice Hunters. So with Justice Hunters we are getting two new archetypes that really blend well together with Monarchs, and it brings me vibes back, what was it, back in 2016 when we were able to run Brilliant Fusion, Gem Knight, Brilliant Fusion with Monarchs, but this is much better. It's ridiculous, it's insane. You will see it in a few moments, but the hybrid is definitely there. And now the deck is actually running hand traps. At least now you have ways to play turn 0, so, you know, during your opponent's turn. The deck list might seem awkward at first, but there is so much synergy going, you will see in a few moments, that it definitely has potential. Okay, so let's dig in. Let's start off with the monsters first, so extra deck, extra deck and side deck in a few moments. So the main deck counts 43 cards, so a little over 40 cards, but I think that's definitely justified because there are so many engines, so many cards that searches out each other, so it definitely makes sense, but the ratios might seem awkward at first. Let's start off with the tribute monsters first, so 1 Erebus, 1 Aether, 1 Megazoborg, and double of the new Adels, and of course 1 Majesty's Fiend because that's searchable. So only 6 tributes, only 6 tributes, which might seem low, you know, for tributes. It's fine though, because most of them are pretty much searchable off of, you know, obviously Return, but off of one of the new Monarch spells. Same for Erebus, Aether as well. The double Adels, again, special summonable from the graveyard, etc. Majesty's Fiend also searchable, but essentially now, and that's different compared to I was main decking in my domain build from a couple of weeks ago, is this is definitely a Megazoborg deck. You want to get to Megazoborg as soon as possible to cripple your opponent's extra deck, and of course, capitalize on your own extra deck monsters. So essentially you're running, it gives you more tools of going second and potentially breaking the board. Not alone with Megazoborg, but with other options as well. So a little lower tribute count, but again, the other engines come into play and will solve that problem. Now, your Tribute Father, this doesn't change, the new Tessera, it's definitely a 3-off, level 1 as well, so potentially you can send it to the graveyard with Anima to trigger its effect. Only 1 Idea, only 1 Adels, and this is also a new one, so 3 Tessera, no questions, that's a 3-off staple, triggers when sent to the graveyard, discarded, whatever, used for a fusion summon. Keep in mind, she will lock you, at least she will prevent you from using your extra deck whenever you use its effect. So that's important, but you know, just go for your extra deck stuff first and then use the Tessera. It's special summoning effect, same for Idea and Adel, so you know where it goes. This is a new one, well, new from our previous set, so Steel Stringed Sacrifice, basically it also has the Vassal stat, so 800 attack, 1000 defense, so you could potentially reveal it with Rebellion and send it to the graveyard, or if you have it in your hand, it has 3 separate effects. You can reveal a high level monster, and then even when it's in the graveyard or in your hand, let's say if it's in the graveyard, right, you send it to the graveyard with, where is it, with Rebellion, or you know, Revolt. Rebellion was the OCG name, you know, reveal 3 and then your opponents pick 1, the other are sent to the graveyard. So whenever it's in the graveyard or in hand, you reveal a high level monster and then you can take it back from your grave back to the hand. Then you can basically do the same effect, so reveal and special summon itself, and then it will become Tribute Father. That's fine. But it has another graveyard effect that again reveal a strong tribute to get back a tribute from the graveyard. So essentially, when you have Erebus in the graveyard with this could potentially get back the Erebus from your graveyard. So it's a nifty tech. It needs a bit more playtesting, otherwise it might just become a second Idea with only 1 Adels. But I mean, that's fine. You have more ways to get these vassals from your hand to the field. So that's basically it for the monster lineup. So let's go over the spells and traps, right? 3 Pantheism as your main hand trap bait, I guess you always get Ashed. 3 Tenacity for your Searcher, 3 Revolt, right, Rebellion, or discard, reveal 3, your opponent's, you know, is forced to add 1. Only 2 Master Plan, 3 might be a bit too much, but this is still important, you know, send 1 Monarch spell and trap. It's basically more Pantheism, or it could send Revolt as well, banish Revolt, get your vassals from the hand, etc. But, you know, this also sense Prime, so it gives you directly, you know, a tribute monster on field, level 5 on field. So it does a bit too much, and you know, whenever Master Plan is banished, it could potentially search you a tribute monster. If your opponent has like a light or dark attribute, you can use your Master Plan to search either, you know, your new Adels or Majesty's Fiend. So again, that's important. Here is where things might diversify because you're playing an extra deck variant. Only one Stormfort, and actually, Stormfort might be a card that's cuttable from this list because it blocks your deck from playing, but the fact that you have Aether, you can tribute summon during your opponent's turn, it still breaks boards, it locks you from extra, you know, deck summons for the entire turn. So only one is fine because, you know, it could be searchable. Return is needed. I've seen people saying, you know, you need to cut return. No. Return is an extra layer of Monarch spell and traps that's searchable off of Tenacity, off of Pantheism, that searches your key card being Megazoborg. You know, Megazoborg will be searchable off of Adels, for example, but, you know, that could be impermed or whatever, so there is still a way to get to Megazoborg with return, you know, through Monarch spell and traps searches, right? And then last, no stun variant, right, with the continuous trap, Erupt. You're playing this one as basically interruptions, but I'm not so sure about this one. This, of course, will become much better when your graveyard is fully loaded, but in all honesty, it might be cuttable, might. Okay. So that's basically it for the Monarch spells and traps for the main deck. Let's take a look at the older engines now. Okay, let's go for Dracotail first. So the reason why you're running Dracotail is because of one sole reason. Because of this. Rahu is your new brilliant fusion. You can use fusion materials from your deck, right? And at least one monster from the hand. And as you know, you have multiple cards that benefit from, you know, being sent to the graveyard. Adels can be used for fusion summon. You can even run Tessera or use Tessera for a fusion summon and then trigger her effect. You know how it goes. So that's fine. For the fusion summon sending from the deck, most of the time it will be this one, your Urgala, and whenever your Urgala is used for a fusion summon, you can set a Dragontail spell and trap, and that's, you know, your this one, your K2, and then your K2 will search your last Dragontail, and that's this one, potentially discard fusion summon during their turn, for more interruptions. But another addition, and that makes it so that this will probably might become better compared to Gen Knight engine from back in the day. Your Urgala has a Monarch stats, so 2400 attack, 1000 defense, so technically you could search it with Keto, you know, your Rota, this will become a Monarch for Tenacity, for Tributes, just in case. So things go well together, and that's really nifty. This is super nifty, and it's, you know, this gets your fusions on field, puts pressure on your opponent, gets back Monarchs, monsters from your graveyard, you know, with your Dragontail fusion, so things go well together, and going second, it's just far more oppressive compared to a domain variant. So that's basically it for the small dragon tail package. You could definitely go for a second K2, you know, your Rota into Poly. Next, K9. Again, this gives you the option of basically hand trap, you know, turn 0 during your opponent's turn, just in case if you're going second. But again, very similar as to back in the day, you could use Prime, you know, Prime as a level 5 monster, right, for rank 5 exceeds, to go for Pleiades back in the day. But now these basically do the same, but probably are just much better. Izuna Foolishness Lupus, Lantern, you know, special summons level 5, search a spell, etc. You know how these one work out. So again, nice extenders, and especially, you know, when you get hand trapped, when you get ashed or jolt, these flood the field really fast. And again, are far more oppressive than domain. Again, just in case if you're going second or if you get hand trapped. Last, this is a favorite filler for the filler. That's positive, but because it's an insane card. Nadir Servant into Maximus just breaks boards on its own. Servant to send an extra deck card, Maximus to send 2 more extra deck cards, cripples your opponent's extra deck even more. Insane engine, like going second and even going first. That's so nice. This gives you advantage, draws, whatever. Really sick engine. So 43 cards in the main deck. Alright, so let's take a look at the extra deck first. There is room for improvement, so definitely let me know, right? The first ones being your Dragontails. This is your Guardian Chimera, I guess you can call it, and the one of that pops, right? But in all honesty, you could even add up more, maybe, to make it a bit more oppressive. just in case if your opponent is able to break the board. For the K9 package, I only have 2, so 1 Ripper, 1 Sky Blaster to put stuff face down. You might even want to add in more Ripper and even Werewolf maybe, but you know, that adds in more inconsistent cards. 1 Anima, that might be important just in case, let's say, if you open all monsters plus Tessera, you can't reveal like, you know, a Monarch spell and trap to special summon Tessera to the field. You could potentially normal summon Tessera, link her away for Anima, and that triggers Tessera. So from now you're locked from your extra deck, but because Tessera is sent to the graveyard, that special summons Idea, that gives you Ados for the extra tribute summon. That's nice. And you know, you could potentially get back Tessera on field with Ados to get another tribute summon. So essentially 2 more tribute summons, even though you used up your normal summon to go for the link summon. Really nifty. Okay, so Anima, Duke of the Mice, that's also an extra tech, the last effect. Whenever he is in the graveyard, banish it to get back a zombie Erebus, to get Erebus back from your graveyard. The fossil machine that pops back row, you could play the other fossil as well, but I can't play more than 15, so there is just no space for that. The next one is Garura, obviously for draws, right? Or is the second one is the Tri-Brigade, the Bear Blossom. This is much more important to send off your Nadir Servant first, you know, because you don't want to get bestialed, because it's an Earth, you know, your opponent can't bestial that, and then you can banish your Baron Blossom for Maximus, discard or get rid of, you know, your Garura, and etc. And this generic pops, add Ignister for bounce, and now you have 3 spots left. There's more options in a few seconds, but for now I have these. This is no surprise, but quite nifty, you know, the Jurek Meteor, and one of the new ones from the Battles of Legends, which is currently not yet released in the here in Europe. What is it called? It's a new Jurek monster, Jurek Astero. So as soon as, you know, I will pop it up here on screen. Why this one is potentially with Megazoborg, you can send these 2 from your extra deck to the graveyard. So, you know, your new Synchro and a Jurek Meteor, and then during your opponent's turn, use a new Synchro to, you know, Synchro summon, I guess, during their turn. And that basically gives you the option to Meteor during their turn, so blow up the entire board and summon Meteor during their turn. If you find the space, you could even add more. So this is currently the extra deck, but again, there's room for improvement. Other options, I really want to fit in Omega. The bounce back stuff, maybe an Antis or whatever, right? Maybe more fusions to capitalize on Dracotail package, maybe more rank 5s, even Zeus. So those are all definitely options, but I just can't find the space. Last but not least, the side deck. Okay, the side deck, so let's take a look. The first one here is Mega Testalos. This is something that I didn't play in Domain, but you kinda have to, especially when going into time, and if you know you're going first, this might be an instant side deck staple, if you know you're going first to get the peek at your hand, or, you know, close to time for burn damage. It is what it is. So, Mega Testalos. Hand traps. You're not making hand traps. You could. The only hand trap I would probably play now is either Mulcharmy Fualos in the main deck and or Droll. There's just no space for more, even for Domain. Actually, the only hand trap that I'm now considering main decking is Fualos. That's the only hand trap. If Maxi was legal, then it would have been Maxi, but here in the TCG we don't have that. So again, if you know you're going second, Fualos is definitely your, you know, your to-go-to card, staple card when going second. Post side deck, more Fiends, 3 might be a bit too much, especially for the extra deck variant. And then for Lunalight. Lunalight has that big boss monster where even Stormfort says no to. I mean, Stormfort, you can't Stormfort their boss. But spell card Soul Exchange isn't out. And that's something I didn't know in my Domain Monarch build. But Soul Exchange can tribute away their, you know, their boss monster. I forgot its name, you know which one I mean. The one that's unaffected by other card effects, except Lunalight. You could also play that fusion that lowers the attack here in the extra deck. If you know you're going second, blowout evenly matched. If you know you're going first, you can go for Judgment. So that's basically it for the side deck as well. So for now, you know, the main deck counts 43 cards. That's a lot. You're main decking a little less Monarchs, but you know, that's for consistency, and there are so many ways to get to your tributes. It has more power monsters, more draws. It makes going second much easier compared to the Domain build. It's a little harder to play compared to Domain for the most obvious reasons, but I think this kind of build definitely has potential. It's not top tier, but I mean, underdog, you know how it goes. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Riddim signing out. Peace.